So, hey, here's what I look at you over the past 6 months. I'm like, all right, who's the new Mike McFall I'm going to talk to? Is he the same guy? But I'm like, and then I went and I didn't complete the full read of Grow, your new book, which I'm going to give you some kudos on that. And as we discuss it, because I'd love to talk about every chapter and every significant moment. I'm not going to do it because we have to tweak people and make them go buy it, right?
Sure. Yeah,
right.
Thank you.
So, but I think about you over the last 6 months. I'm like, man, look at this guy's life. I'm like, he's traveling Europe. He is continuing to grow this significant coffee brand, being a normal guy with a good attitude. He has famous hockey players, probably like your hero in hockey of Steve Yzerman, writing. And I'm trying to figure out, like, did they really get testimonials at the front of a book? It's like they're praising his book before anybody reads it. But you're getting people like that to make these sorts of statements. Man, what a life you're living. How the heck did this happen?
Oh, wow. That's a doozy to come out of the gate with here. How did this happen? Well, the premise of my book, Grow, is from chaos to calm. And when you reach the calm stage in the development of your business, it frees you up as the entrepreneur to do and explore other things. And oh, by the way, you have some resources because you have a successful business on your hands. And so that's the whole point of the book is how do you go from a bootstrapping entrepreneur through this really difficult transition all the way to calm. Calm means my phone doesn't really ring anymore. Calm means I engage what I want to engage in the business. I'm not, on the rare occasion I get involved in what might be considered like a crisis or a hot topic, but that's really, those things are few and far between, like not even once a month. And so that's what I want to bring to leadership is that the goal should be to get to this place of calm.
So let me take a stab at my overarching theme of the book, which is, so I really got to about page 200, right? So if that gives you a frame of mind, but I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, it's a 300-page book. And what's the size of that font? That's not big. That's not big.
No, it's
That's
not
small
big.
font, what you did to us. So, but let me take a stab at this. When I think about Grow and there's a big sunflower on the front, I'm like, okay, this is we're onto something here. But here's my take. This isn't necessarily about the growth of the business. It's about the growth of the leaders and the people.
Boom. So, double entendre. And what I would add to that is if you want your company to grow, you have to grow as a leader.
So my next question, as I read this, it makes me question all the lack of ability and qualities that I have as a leader. Because I'm sitting here thinking, like, do I really have to be all of this? Do I have to be all of it?
No, nobody is. But I think the idea is that as a leader, if you just continuously try to improve and can identify the areas of weakness and work on those and then leverage the things you're good at, that's the idea. What I would like to do is have you read the book and identify 2, 3, 4 things that you think, I should probably be better at this. And then identify 2, 3, or 4 things that are, hey, I'm real strong at this in this area. And so it's a journey into self-awareness as a leader. And that's the point of the book. And that was also the point of Grind, but just at a different stage of the development of your business. And so what we have to do as leaders is understand how we're impacting the business and then make sure that we are working on those areas and that we're having the impact we want to have on the business.
So you talked about fluidity of leadership, right?
Yeah. Chapter 1.
Yeah, man. And so I'm not going to try to lay it out chapter by chapter. I could go and I could probably pull out a subject or an idea from each chapter, and people still would only have about 3% of this book. And so as I'm at page 200 and I'm taking notes, I'm like, man, where do you have a conversation with this guy? So did you write this yourself?
I did.
How long did it take?
2 years.
Okay. Did you already have the idea, because I'm going somewhere with this, did you already have the idea of the topic of grow when you were writing Grind?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So it started, well, if we want to go way back, it started as a joint project with a researcher at Michigan State University. We got working on it. That piece didn't work out. And so I just decided to write the book myself without any real research behind it, just sort of my story, my thoughts. It was going to be a 4-part book. It was going to be startup, management, leadership, and then legacy. Those were the outline, the 4 major categories, the 4 books. I wrote Grind. I started getting into the second book, which, was the book on management. And I was like, I just didn't have the patience to break it into 2 books. I just didn't, And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and write the book on management and leadership. And that's the end result. And the criticism I've gotten on the book from people is that it's sometimes hard to differentiate if I'm talking to someone who's managing a business or if I'm talking to somebody that owns a business. And so I understand that confusion because I did take these 2 concepts and just kind of cram them together. What's interesting about it is if I had written the 3 books up to this point instead of 2, they each would have been about 150 pages. Grow is 300 pages. And so, but yes, I definitely had this project. And then the final book that I'll start writing next year is going to be a book. This is the book I've always wanted to write. So Grind and Grow, I felt like I needed to write first in order to get the street credibility to go into book 4. Book 4 is going to be a call to action on leaders of private enterprise specifically.
So when you say street credibility, everything that's inside of me, our last conversation, I really appreciated it personally. But I'm like, all right, let me challenge him on a couple of these things. And let me challenge him on, because as I evolve as a leader too, and we're starting to put out more content and what we're doing and I'm this fundamental, like we share this bootstrapping idea, but I'm this guy that there's a chapter in here. You talk about work ethic. Like you would insult me. You would insult me being Workaholic Anonymous. You would. And I'm reading this and I'm reading the chapter and I'm like, man, this guy thinks I'm horrible. He thinks I'm terrible. He thinks I have massive flaws. I have tremendous growth areas. But here's my question is, how do you get here in the beginning of bootstrapping it and grinding without that?
Yeah, you've really sort of queued up on one of the struggles and or disconnects I have on the project. Because I'm not going to sit here and tell you in the startup phase or in the bootstrapping entrepreneurial phase that there aren't moments, in significant moments, when you got to be all in 100% committed. Like it's everything. And I had those. There's no doubt about it. I had those. The goal, though, is to transition out of that. And so I don't want anybody to think, now I was never a workaholic. I'll tell you that right now. And my theory on it goes like this. I'm going to try to make a car analogy, even though I'm not a car guy. Mm-hmm. If you're running your car at 5,800 RPMs, and then you need to accelerate, there's nothing there. And so if you're running your life at 5,700 RPMs all the time, and then a crisis hits, you're in trouble. And so I'd rather be in the power band, right? Be in the 2,700 to 3,500 RPMs on the car, right? So that when a crisis hits, I have the ability to hit the accelerator and bring what I need to bring to the business.